Welcome to the Widows Collective, where grief meets hope, healing, and community. I'm Lauren Lentz, grief coach, fellow widow, and the heart behind this space. There is life before loss, and then there is life after. If you're here, it likely means your life has been turned upside down by the death of your person. Maybe you've just found yourself in this new world that feels unrecognizable, or maybe you've been walking it for a while, trying to figure out what healing looks like now. I want you to know you are not alone. This podcast is a gathering place for widows living in the after. Together, we'll name the ache, honor the love, and share tools, truths, and stories that help you feel supported along the way. My hope is that every episode gives you a sense of community, comfort, and permission to meet yourself exactly where you are. Hello, and welcome back to episode 13, The Days That Bring You to Your Knees. I think at some point in our lives, most of us have imagined what it might be like to lose someone we love deeply and how our body and mind would respond to that moment. At least, I know I had. Often, when we hear of a death on the news or over social media, it prompts us to think of how we would react. I've pictured different versions of it, feeling utter devastation, becoming completely paralyzed by the reality of it, or feeling a surge of rage. And whenever those thoughts crept in, I would become terrified and really uncomfortable. I would push them away and tell myself it was just my anxious mind running wild, that I was catastrophizing, that it wouldn't really happen to me, and that to stop going there. But tragically, I learned that imagining it was nothing like actually living it. The moment I was told Kevin was killed, my body went numb. I remember not being able to feel my feet or my hands. I dropped to my knees, face to face with our 14-month-old son. And then, all of a sudden, it felt like I was floating outside of myself, watching it all happen like a movie. It felt like I was looking into the reel of someone else's life, not my own. What followed the moment I learned Kevin was gone wasn't just grief. It was a shattering, a pulverization of everything I once knew. It felt like my world had crumbled in an instant, and there were no pieces to pick back up. I was there, and I wasn't. Watching my own life unfold from somewhere beyond. At the same time, I wanted to crawl out of my skin because being inside of it felt unbearable. That's the part no one really tells you. Grief doesn't arrive as one clean reaction, it fractures you. And today, I want to talk about the days that bring you to your knees. Not just that day, but the many days that follow. The ones no one prepares you for, because no one actually can prepare you for them. Your body can't rehearse the unimaginable. And although you can never be rehearsed for something like this, what I didn't realize then was that my body already knew exactly what it needed to do. For most of us, we're taught that shock looks dramatic. That if someone that we love died, we'd be crying and screaming and collapsing. And although it absolutely can look like that, shock is often quiet, disorienting, surreal. It can feel like moving through fog, losing track of time, trudging through mud, feeling numb and in tremendous pain all at once. Your body isn't malfunctioning, it's protecting you. It's your nervous system saying, this is too much to take in all at once. So it slows things down. It distances you from sensation. It creates a buffer between you and the full weight of what has just happened. That floating feeling, that sense of being disconnected from your body, it's not a sign that something is wrong or that you are unsafe in that moment. It's actually your body doing something profoundly intelligent. It's sheltering you from the vastness of your truth. And when I say the day that brought me to my knees, I do mean that literally. My body couldn't hold me up anymore. But what I've learned since is being brought to your knees doesn't always look like a physical collapse. For many, it happens internally, invisibly, in ways that others may never see. Most people imagine grief comes all at once, one huge, life-altering moment. The phone call, the knock at the door, the words that change everything. And yes, those moments rearrange your life and they matter. But grief doesn't stop there. It keeps coming, often when you least expect it, in ways that can feel almost impossible to handle. It might be small things, a smell that puts you back, a song that drags you into a memory, or a quiet Tuesday afternoon that suddenly feels too quiet, unbearable. Even something tiny, a noise, a fleeting thought, or a task that should feel simple can knock the wind out of you. That doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means your body and your mind are doing its job. It's noticing what's missing. It's processing what it can in chunks, and it's protecting you from being hit with everything all at once. These waves of grief can leave you drained and wondering if you'll ever feel safe or steady again. Please know that's normal. It doesn't mean that there is anything happening within you that is out of the ordinary. It means your heart is learning to live in a world without a person you loved. What often makes these days so confusing is not just that grief shows up, but how suddenly and physically it does. After the first life-altering moment, grief begins to surface in more unexpected and abrupt ways. You might be doing something like folding laundry, standing in the doorway, or listening to a song you didn't choose, and suddenly your body reacts before you have time to prepare. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops, your legs feel weak, and it can be confusing because nothing new has happened. And it isn't grief returning, it's grief still moving through you. Your body remembers what your life was organized around. It remembers who made things feel safe and familiar and shared. So when something brushes up against that memory, your system responds instinctively without asking permission. When this happens, I want you to start reminding yourself that you're allowed to stop. You're allowed to take a moment or moments to breathe. Let your body register what it's noticing slowly in pieces. When we do this, we're allowing ourselves space to learn how to exist in a world that no longer matches the one we once knew. To understand why these moments feel so intense, we have to look beneath thought and memory to the body itself. Because grief lives in your body, even when your mind feels like it's barely keeping up, when everything around you is still going at a mile a minute. When you're moving through the motions, you're functioning, you're responding, you're doing what you need to do, your body remembers the sound of the words, the way the room felt, the moment your life split in two. It remembers not as a story, but as sensations, as shock, as disruption, as a sudden loss of safety and certainty. So when grief knocks you to your knees or shakes you or tightens your chest or leaves you numb, it's not random. It is your body still adjusting, still orienting, still trying to understand how to keep you alive in a world that no longer feels familiar. This is why reactions can feel confusing and sudden or too much. Why they don't always match what's happening in the moment. Your body isn't broken. It's responding instinctually to something no human body is built to prepare for all at once. So when your body responds like this, when grief hits without warning, the question becomes, what do you do in that moment? When grief comes, your instinct may be to push it away, to steady yourself, to stand tall, to busy yourself, to get back to normal as quickly as possible. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself soften, to lean into the message your body is trying to deliver instead of arguing with it, to sit, to breathe, to notice what's happening without trying to change it. You don't need to understand why the wave hit you. You don't need to name it perfectly. You don't need to make it go away. You don't need to appear composed or in control. You just need to stay with yourself in that moment. Let your body feel what it needs to feel without rushing it forward. In this presence, that is strength at its rawest, most honest form. And yet, even when we're doing exactly what our body needs, something else often creeps in quietly. It's easy to look around and feel like you, air quotes, should be handling this better. Like other widow sisters are moving forward while you're still being taken out by moments you didn't see coming. That comparison can show up when you're already vulnerable. And when it does, shame often follows. That feeling is completely normal. Being brought to your knees doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean your grief is out of control. It means you loved and continue to love deeply. It means your body and your mind are learning day by day how to live in a world that feels unfamiliar to you. There's no timeline you're behind, no standard that you're missing, no version of grief you're supposed to be performing. Every wave, every pause, every moment of collapse is part of your body's attempt to help you survive. Shame has no place here. I often ask my clients to imagine their inner child, to think of their own children. How would you speak to them after something so devastating? Would you shame them? Would you make them feel like they should be doing better by now? Of course you wouldn't. You would offer patience and compassion and gentleness, because surviving loss isn't about doing it right. It's about the slow, uneven work of staying alive after everything else has changed. Which brings us to the word that's so often placed on grieving widows, whether we want it or not. And that word is strength. Many widows don't want to be strong because strong has often meant holding it all together, swallowing pain, surviving quietly so others don't have to feel uncomfortable, somehow deserving of this circumstance because we're the strong one. But this life wasn't chosen. You didn't opt into resilience. You were dropped into survival. Grief doesn't ask you to rise. It actually asks you to release. Sometimes what's required isn't strength at all. It's stopping the performance, letting yourself need, letting yourself come undone without explaining or apologizing. And sometimes it's reframing the idea of strength. Strength inside of grief is getting out of bed. It is brushing your hair, taking a shower, going and getting a drink of water. Being brought to your knees is the hardest work. It's what happens when love and loss collide in a body that can only hold so much. Nothing about what you're doing is weak. It's deeply, deeply human. I want to leave you with this, especially for the days when it feels like the ground has completely given way beneath you. Some days, grief hums beneath the surface. And other days, it's going to bring you to your knees, physically or metaphorically. You don't need to push through it. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to prove your strength to anyone. There are moments when staying close to the ground is exactly what you need, when rising can wait and presence is enough. I want to take a moment to do a little plug here for my upcoming self-guided program, Through the Fog, which was created exactly for those moments. It's a program for the early days of grief when everything feels disorienting and painfully heavy. There's no expectation of progress here, just steadiness, gentle support, and a reminder that you're not alone. It will be available the last week of January, and you can meet it in your own time. Until then, I want you to know you're not failing. You're surviving something that feels impossible. And I'm glad you found your way here. Until next time, big hugs and lots of love. You've been listening to the Widows Collective. I'm Lauren Lentz, and it means so much to me that you spent this time here today. If you found comfort or connection in today's episode, I invite you to please subscribe, leave a rating, or share it with someone who might need a little support. You can also follow me on Instagram at I'm Sorry We're Friends and join my email list at laurenlentz.com to explore my one-to-one grief coaching, group program, retreats, and other tools designed to help widows navigate loss with understanding and guidance. I hope you'll join me next week for another conversation where we'll continue exploring grief, healing, and ways to reimagine life after loss. I'm sorry you're here, and I'm so grateful that you are. Thank you for being a part of this community. Your presence is an act of courage and self-compassion, and I'm honored to walk this path alongside you.